Hi guys, so let's have a look at creating custom wallpapers for iPhones and iPads. This is an Affinity Photo version 2 iPad tutorial, but works equally well on the Mac and the PC, I'm sure. So we'll start with iPhones first. Now the sizes, it's a lot more refined to create your screen wallpaper the exact size of your device screen. No cut-offs and no blank spaces. No letterbox effects. Really hate those letterbox effects. And you can see my iPhone 11 lock screen and home screen on the right. I've just got my logo there. AI for Affinity. Inspiration, of course. Now the sizes. These are the full wallpaper sizes currently available. So let's start with my iPhone 11 as a good example to work with. The download file, which is available on my website and in the files section of the Facebook page, contains the aspect ratios as well, which is very handy if you're using something like Midjourney to create graphics images. iPads are different, and we'll come to them later. Now, the iPhone 11, let's start by creating the blank project. Create a preset called iPhone 11 under the Devices preset category. Set the background to non-transparent or not as you wish, but I use non-transparent. From here on, it's up to you what design you want there. You can create wallpaper screens that promote a client's business or your own, or just images of your pets, dogs, cats, birds, people, whatever you like. Now, in my case, I designed a logo in Affinity Designer and simply used that, Affinity Inspiration. I had to move the logo up slightly to better clear the screen because I didn't like it in the centre of the screen. I needed it in the top section a little bit, so it leaves a blank screen, much neater in my case. It's a matter of personal choice. That's the home view screen. Now let's look at this in detail. Create your canvas and place a blank white rectangle on it that's the exact size. And notice that snapping is on. This really assists you when you're putting in an image of the right size. Now find the aspect ratio of the image you need. Use an online calculator. Now there's a good one at aspectratio-calculator.com. Bit of a mouthful, but there it is. Or you can download the file that contains the aspect ratios already calculated for you that I've put on my website and in the files section of the Facebook page. Now Midjourney is a good place to create unique images in the required aspect ratio. We need ours to be at 31:64 for the iPhone 11 aspect ratio. Midjourney created 4 excellent images for me to use, and you can see the 4 images there, and you can see the prompt. An ancient city in the jungle, aspect ratio 31:64. That's all you have to type in, and it comes back with 4 neat images. Make sure the image is the exact size because you generate each one of the 4 separately. You don't have to cut them out. It will do it for you. But make sure the image is the exact size. It can get it wrong, not often, but it can. And with snapping on, drag it into place. You can see I've got it slightly offset there so I can see where I am. Then drag it into place, and the snapping lines show when you have it exactly right, and the Transform Studio shows the correct measurements. You shouldn't have to alter it, but if you do, well, you can do that because you're in the Transform Studio. Now there is your custom and very unique wallpaper for an iPhone 11. For example, some examples: dystopian cities. Some more examples: a mix of various cartoon characters in anime clip art style. Again, aspect ratio 31:64. A montage of story genre characters and scenes from romance, crime, sci-fi, spy thrillers and others in graphic detail in movie poster styles. And again, the aspect ratio 31:64. If you've got a different size iPhone, of course, and you probably have, then change the aspect ratio to suit. It'll be listed in your list of sizes. Now lastly, an outline sketch of a cat on white paper. Very cute. Now the iPad is next, and I've saved that to last because iPads present a unique problem. The wallpaper on an iPad rotates into landscape or portrait mode as the device is rotated. Of course, this can be locked, but that affects everything, so it's often ignored. But rotation means you could lose some information from your wallpaper, as in these examples. So how do we solve this? We solve it with a template that outlines the areas of concern. For a start, our preset should be 2048 by 2048 pixels by 300 dpi. This will cover just about every iPad there is on the market at the moment. Now, place a rectangle over the entire panel again. And now we can place our template over this. I copied this template from this address, and it's very nice. The white areas will not be visible on an iPad. The green areas are obviously the visible areas according to the device orientation. Now, given that iPads are different sizes, there will be some slight variation there, ever so slight. But you don't have to worry about that because iPad has the ability to scale it as you like, as is needed for the iPad that you're on. So let's look at this in practice. An image in 1:1 aspect ratio, which of course is 2048 by 2048, neatly fills the space. But in landscape mode, the top of the ears and the head are cut off. So let's lower the image slightly. In portrait mode it looks fine, but in landscape mode the little doggy will have the top of its head cut off, and that's not nice at all. Now there's the image lowered slightly, much better. And in practice, that's what it looks like. That's my iPad mini in the lock screen in landscape mode and portrait mode lock screen, and you can see that the little doggy is looking very curious. You can of course shoot your own images, just keep in mind that you may lose the edges when the image resizes. So most cameras these days allow you to adjust the aspect ratio of an image that you're taking. So you should be able to, if you've got a good camera and you're photographing the children perhaps or the family, you can adjust the aspect ratio to suit the home screen that you want to put it on. That should be fairly straightforward. I know these things are easy to say, but sometimes they are. Just look in your camera. So that's the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe because it's the only by your subscription that I'm encouraged to keep providing tutorials. See you in the next tutorial.
Go ahead. Make my day. Subscribe.